What's going on, guys and girls? How you doing today? It's Single Roleplay here once again, and today I want to talk a bit more about Toxic Rain versus Caustic Arrow, because when I uploaded the build yesterday it raised a lot of questions and I got tremendous amount of feedback. And keep in mind that the build that I uploaded yesterday was just a sketch, it's not a final build, and the skill itself is still pretty mysterious, and there will be a lot of things going on for the last weeks and even months before people will find out the perfect combination of items to be used with Toxic Rain and Caustic Arrow and Herald of Agony and everything else. But for now I want to concentrate on a couple of more important things. I mentioned in my video a couple of things that I was not entirely sure about, and right now I figure out that I was wrong on a couple of things. First of all, it's about the maximum pot stacks on the Toxic Rain. I got around 3.3 IPS yesterday, and when I tried to plant the pots, I didn't exceed the limit of 20 pots at a time. So that was pretty much it here. So 20 pots at a time is what I managed to plant with my IPS. But then I got the picture where the dude had like 35 pots planted at a time, and this basically proved that I was wrong. But is it possible to exceed more than 20, more than 30, and potentially even more than 40 and even maybe 50 pots at a time on the ground, which potentially leads to another thing where I was wrong, because I thought that the DoT staking on Toxic Rain, which is the DoT DPS, was not entirely viable, not really entirely was worth the investing time. But it was not entirely correct, because if you get more than like 20 pots, 10-20 pots at a time with a lot of damage over time, it actually exceeds the amount of damage over time on Caustic Arrow as well. Just for the numbers, here is the normal Caustic Arrow, here's a normal Toxic Rain damage over time with just a slight investment on damage over time with just normal setup with Mirage Archer. If we can invest more, we can go Conk Effect and potentially get more damage over time. This is pretty straightforward, normal damage over time DPS that you can get on the Quill Rain here with just normal setup that I used. So 50k is what you get in the end game per one pot. This is it. Now let's get back to CA build and see how much is there. I have it there. This was the original build that I had planned for the league. This is the same setup pretty much, Cool Rain, Drill Neck and everything else instead of a Lilliputhy here. But everything else is just pretty much identical. So you can see the DoT DPS here is 500k, so it's 10 times more on Caustic Arrow, with pretty much the same, except maybe Conk Effect, it's like a little less, but it doesn't matter because you will mostly be running this setup. So okay, it's not even 5, it's around 7 times more, right? 7 times more DoT DPS on the Caustic Arrow than on the Toxic Rain. So potentially on Toxic Rain, if you want to exceed the amount of damage over time on Toxic Rain and make it more than Caustic Arrow, you need to plant at least 7 pods at a time and have the monster actually be affected by these pods. So you can see that's 50, right? 50. So 7.5 is 35. So this is it. So at least 7 pods must be active at a time on the ground around the monster. So this is how Toxic Rain can already start exceeding the DoT damage of Caustic Arrow. So I was wrong, guys, I admit this. I think the damage over time is actually worth it, but this is only worth it for a fast build like using Quill Rain. If you go Lioness Glare, the DoT is still there, right? But this is with 3 attacks per second. This is 3 attacks per second. Obviously with the quill rate you get 4-6 attacks per second. You can plant much more pods, and this damage over time will stack. And another thing that should be noted as well is this shit, which is a Nature's Reprisal. Chaos skills have 50% increased area effect, and area effect for the Toxic Rain means the kind of damage over time cloud around the pod. Actually, this is what it means. The damage over time cloud around the pod, it kind of starts overlapping and stacking on the monster. Even though the monster moving, he still gets a bit of overlap on the damage over time from the pods, and this is actually where its dots starts to be very useful. Another thing that if you want to play dots, you should obviously be using Conk Effect because it dramatically increases damage over time. And another thing that you should be potentially using is the skill effect duration here, because it just increases the damage over time while it lasts, because the Toxic Rain lasts 1 second. Then the pods explode. After 1 second, the pods explode. Potentially you can use increased duration, right? You can use increased duration and greatly increase the duration of the pod. And increased duration plus skill effect duration will increase your duration of the pods by around 1 second. So you will literally double the DoT DPS here. These two things combined with a 5-6 attacks per second will greatly increase the damage over time effect of the Toxic Rain, and this is where I think it will literally kill Caustic Arrow, and this is where I was actually wrong. So there are actually very interesting ways on how to scale Toxic Rain, because there are literally like 3 ways how you can scale it. First of all, you can invest heavily with damage over time, go increase duration, skill effect duration, potentially you can get, you know, efficacy or decay even on top of that. This will make your dots very, very strong. Going with a Quill Rain is also mandatory for stacking damage over time. Another option is to try to stack the explosions with added chaos. Look at this. I click this. Look at this. Basically, added chaos damage dramatically increases the damage of the explosions by almost over 100%. Actually, this is pretty retarded. Look at this, 140. This is 250. So added chaos is absolutely devastating, and this is actually 5 links. So you can use Mirror Archer as well, or something else like Conk Effect, or and Bow Lane elements for more poison. So I think this is absolutely retarded damage for the poison stacking and for the hit build with Quill Rain. So this is how you can stack the pod explosions. Another thing that you can try is try to get less duration. This way the pods will explode like around half a second, and this will actually machine gun pod explosion. So this is another way how you can try to stack poison. This I think will dramatically scale poison as well. This will greatly scale poison if you put added chaos and all this shit. This will dramatically scale poison explosions on this. So like, and the third way is what I'm playing actually. I do not scale durations for the damage over time. I do not scale hits greatly. I just scale each of these aspects normally, like you should play. I think without overinvestment in one of these, with on dots and explosion, and just invest normally as I play in both and see what I can get. So I get pretty much the balance between the hit and the damage over time, and this is, I think, like the normal way to play this without overinvestment. This is what I play. So this is it, guys. Like I said, with the similar setup, you need around 7 pods near the enemy with the Nature's Reprisal taken. This will guarantee that pods will actually affect the damage over time of the pods will actually affect this boss of the monsters nearby, so you can surpass Caustic Arrow damage. That's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this cleared the issue for you. Thank you very much, and see you soon.